Hi, hi, hi. Hello, we are live with Mama Coco Sundays. Happy Easter to everybody. For all those who celebrate and all those who have questions, but still understand that this is the season, happy Easter to everybody. Anywhere in the world where you are listening, if you celebrate Easter, happy Easter to you. And if you understand the meaning of this day today, it's supposed to be a joyful day. It's supposed to be a joyous day. And I thank our God Jehovah for giving me life today, especially what's happening in the world today. I took my vaccination. Yes, my vaccine. I was vaccinated. Yes, 1 week today. And I'm so glad that I did it. I wasn't into understanding too much why I should, but I know because of my health, I had to make haste and get it done to save myself and to save others. So peace from God our Father today, as Mama Coco Life and Style is about to get started. My name is Cora Pantin. Many people know me by my name. A lot of people who grew up with me know me by another name, but I only have one name, which is Cora Pantin. So peace from God our Father, and peace to everyone there in the audience today. I ask God to continue to chaperone this show, to keep us in perfect peace and harmony. And I want to stress to everybody that you are invited to come on Mama Coco show. Mama Coco show, there are rules and there are protocols to come in on Mama Coco show. Mama Coco, she has a Mama Coco, which is me. I'm not going to speak of myself in the third person. I'm going to speak of myself. I do have rules and regulations, not to only save yourself, but to save me, to save the integrity of my show and the integrity of my children. I'm living for my children. I want everyone to know that I live up to the expectations before. I keep living it up, and I will keep on until the day when time shall be no more for me. So we have a lovely panel today, and we are going to be in some serious discussions concerning life and style. This is the day for it. And I know a lot of people anxious to come on the show. But this show today was postponed about 4 times because of many reasons beyond my control. And it would have been very weird for me to keep any other show today. Again, it's Easter Sunday. I had other people that I would have liked to have on Easter Sunday, but I keep the panel small because I want each one to have their allotted time to speak on the topic that we have today. So without further ado, let me ask our God Jehovah to continue to guide, guard, and protect us, keep us in perfect peace and harmony. Today is a day where we speak peace and we behave peacefully. And I ask him to continue to bless all my guests today. Bless them and their family, their household. Those that they leave behind and those that they leave unattended, just to be here right now, to be a part. We have to be grateful when we have guests leaving their families on Sundays, leaving their life on Sundays to come here and to educate us, to enlighten us, and to be our friends and to be our companions. So, let me welcome my guest today and / co-host, Avanell Hazel.
Good afternoon, Mama Coco. Good afternoon, esteemed panel. We have Joanne Melville and we have Dr. Earl Henry. I want to say welcome to each and every one of you today and all the guests tuned in tonight for tonight's show. I bless you guys and I welcome you and wish you a great and happy Easter. And hope to share many more with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Brother Earl Henry, welcome to Mama Coco Life and Style. You were introduced by my esteemed guest also and co-host.
Yes.
She's also my goddaughter, and I'm so and cousin. So I'm so proud to have her. Yes, and may the peace of God be with us all.
Amen.
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 Joanne, I welcome you to Mama Coco Life and Style Sunday also.
Thank you.
You are living in the UK. We had supposed to have your cousin, which is my cousin also, Mary dates, but Mary, she will be here next week.
That's fine.
Yes, you know, and Avi, you are awesome in whatever you choose to do. As my co-host, I can say that if any weekend that I'm not feeling well, you can come and sit and host the show.
That's right.
We may postpone soon. You will be here. So I request for a song to be played right now before any questions asked. And Abby, you are going to be the one to read the questions, my co-host. So before the questions, may I have the song?
Okay. Birds from the love of liberty in the voice of love and prayer. With boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, all in the sea, this native land, the next to be. And may God bless our nation, and every one is finally one day. And may God bless our nation.
Hallelujah. I know a lot of people taking this anthem and we doing a lot of transfiguration with the anthem. We interpret it, the anthem, but how I hold the words in the anthem, I hold it to the theme, and I wish that everyone else is trying to take the anthem into the direction that they believe it should be. We should take it how we understood it and how it should be. We need to understand that there are rules and regulations in life. And if you are not obedient to the rules and laws of our land, you cannot be obedient to the words of Almighty God, because the anthem is of words. The anthem is not just lyrics or just music. We have words to it, and we have to apply our words to wisdom and reinforce it with power and strength in doing what's right. It's many races, creed, race, equal place, equality, equity, for longevity, for prosperity. I don't understand why we have to disrespect the words in this song in order to believe that we will get somewhere. This is the order. And if we believe that the song ain't right because of how you interpret it, It doesn't make it right for everybody who interpreted it before and right now. So peace today. So Avanell, Dr. Professor Earl and Joanne, welcome back to Live with Mama Coco.
Thank you.
How have you been? Well, two of you is last night.
Well, ladies first. So
Ladies,
maybe.
we're going to hear from the doctor. Dr. Professor Earl Henry.
Oh, okay.
Us first.
Oh, you want me to start first?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how have I been? I have been very, very good. I am an optimist by nature. I love life. I celebrate each day of life. I love the fact that God, in His infinite wisdom, decided to make me a Tobagonian. I love my country. I love my people. I really feel proud to be a Trinbagonian. And this particular program has given me, your program, have given me the opportunity to learn from my fellow Tobagonians and to just be a part of the program and to contribute to the program. So I thank you for that opportunity. Happy to be on this panel, esteemed guests, Avenel and Joanne. So I'm looking forward to a very healthy and informative discussion that the listening audience or the watching audience, as you can benefit from the program as they always have. So thank you, Mama Coco, for the privilege and the opportunity, for giving me this wonderful privilege.
So you are welcome, and I appreciate it. But do you have anything to say to encourage me? Because you know I'm being tested and pushed and stuff like that. And last night I even promised not to have any other show like that again. But this is why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, you know, there will always be negatives. And the thing about negative experiences is that they help to make us better, not bitter, stronger, not weaker. So I personally always welcome any negative experience. My whole philosophy in life, of course, is biblically based, is that once I am lined up with God, once I have a relationship with God, whatever comes my way, be it through the way people behave, it's because God is allowing it to make me a better person, to build my character, because that the only thing we're going to take to heaven would be our character. So I know you are a lady of faith. You are a woman of faith, strong faith, and I have deep respect for you, as I know many others have. I knew about you before I saw you. When I lived in Tobago, I heard the name Cora Panton. So you were very popular at home before I left home. I never met you, but I knew that name, Cora Panton. And of course, you have a wonderful legacy. And I think you know that, and you know that we love you. Tobago loves you, and we love the program, and we're learning. This program is a good program. I'm happy that Dr. Cindy and yourself decided to have this type of forum so that we as Trinbagonians and Tobagonians, to be specific, can really enjoy each other and benefit and learn from each other. So I'm going to learn from Avenel, and I'm going to learn from Joanne, and I'm going to learn from Mama Coco, and I'm going to learn from Dr. Cindy. And so I look forward to that. So thank you.
You are teaching us also. We welcome, love you too. We respect you. And I'm glad that you are honoring our people, because that's why I'm here. And again, I just want to stress a little thing right now. That's why I'm here. Any other reason that people believe why I'm here, they are wrong. This is why I am here. Just what you said. And just what Joanne encouraged me in the early. Joanne said, you have a very good thing going. Keep it up. I am going to be there with you. So without further ado, Joanne. And Joanne, welcome back to Live with Mama Coco. It has been a while for you, because your show was postponed. Even when your father died, we just couldn't really do what we have to do. And this show was postponed because of that. So we are here today. Welcome back. How have you been? You are muted. Yeah.
Am I mute or no? Okay. Yeah, I'm thanking you for having me on this platform. Really giving us the opportunity to, meet other people that we haven't seen that are quite prominent from Tobago, and for us to impart whatever knowledge we can and hope that it will reach people and they can learn something from it, and so help to drive the development and the betterment of Tobago. So thank you so much for that.
You are welcome.
I mean, I've been good anyway. I've been working hard and, looking after the family and all that.
But doing another, so here you are working hard, girl.
Yes.
We appreciate you. We appreciate your hard work. We appreciate who you want to become, because, with boundless, hello, you, sir. Faith. In what? Our destiny.
In our destiny.
We solemnly, Earl Henry and Avenel, declare whose destiny? Your destiny.
That's right.
So if you are so perplexed and you are so arrogant in understanding this anthem, remember it is all about your destiny. That's why the doctor ain't done study yet, although he's professor. I saw he coming with some other degree just now again. With boundless faith, boundless.
In our destiny.
Avenel.
Hi. So, from
you, well, you were here very recent, and let's get the show on the road. Tell us.
Absolutely. So for me, this show has definitely been quite a learning experience. This show has allowed us to bridge the many gaps and problems within our society. For me personally, I want to say thanks to Mama Coco. I want to say thanks to Dr. Duke for even giving me to do this, because anyone knows me knows I'm just kind of a shy to myself, but it's given me the confidence to want to stand up for more. I've always known what we deserve. But yes, it gives me that backbone to want to stand up and fight for more, for my people, and not just for my people, for my family, because at the end of the day in Tobago, that is what we are. We are an entire family of people.
Well, welcome and thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Avenel, can you drop our first question here?
Yes. So starting the question off, Dr. Professor Earl and Joanne, mental health care continues to be a taboo in Tobago's subject society. How can we start destigmatizing the mental health conversation on this Easter Sunday?
Well, last evening, we discussed another topic, and we came to the final understanding that education is the key to life. Education. We have to educate our people in Tobago on mental health and the fact that it is not obia, it is not a taboo, it is real. People get sick. It is a disease. Today, of course, we'll speak. I think Dr. Mama Coco told me that we're going to speak specifically about bipolar disorder, which is one of the mental health issues.
Yes.
But it is. We have to educate people, and once we do that and do it well, that taboo will slowly be removed. So it goes back to education, and we got to start from small, from childhood. From small, and educate the masses of the people in Tobago. And I don't think that is a difficult thing to do. Education, and our leaders, our government leaders, have to emphasize the importance of education on that issue of mental health.
Yes.
So it is not obia, it is not taboo. It's a real situation that we have to deal with. Public health is the science and art of preventing disease, promoting health, and prolonging lives through the organized efforts of society. That is the classical definition of public health, through the organized effort of society. So we have to organize ourselves to address these issues.
And that's where your expertise comes
public
in.
Health.
Yeah, it's a public health issue.
Yes.
Indeed.
Thank you. So we all have to use our hands today and give a applause for our professor here, Professor Earl Henry. You have touched on a note there, because that's where a lot of people rush to go. They believe is obia, and they leave in the kids with medical attention.
Yes.
Until they see a lot of stuff happening with them and to them, so we get in an excuse for not doing the right thing. Let me take my voice down. For not doing the right thing by seeking medical attention. And you are saying, doctor, that your expertise is not clinical, but do you recommend that parents, on the site of seeing certain things, address it from a medical point of view?
Oh, most definitely. But the only way the parents can do that is if they're educated. You see, we have to educate our parents. They have to let them know what signs to look for in their children and in their significant other. I mean, we educate people in the signs, what signs to look for, you know, as far as mental health issues concerned. And once we educate people in our community centers, public health, it deals with providing health, dissemination information, health information through the organized efforts of society, through the organized efforts of the community. People get together to address issues. And I think that should be, I don't know who the person in charge of health in Tobago House of Assembly is, but I think that that is an issue. And Mama Coco, I understand your concern, because we are seeing more and more people diagnosed with mental health issues in Tobago because of what's happening, the stress, the COVID. People are stressed, you see? And so we have to educate our community, educate our people. We can do that through the churches, you know, through our churches, through our schools, through our community centers. Yes.
I was going to bring the churches because I want to tell the audience, you know, that next weekend, this same topic will be part 2. However, in the next weekend, we having preachers to come in to speak my religious background of what the church can do or what the church should be doing in society when it comes to young people or even old people. Some women, as soon as they have a baby, they go into postpartum, which is another mental health issue. And next weekend, we'll be having a follow-up. So you,
Mama Coco,
the 3, you'll be joined by 2 other people next week, Sunday, sharp.
Mama Coco, I read somewhere that the most influential people in the Black community here in the States are not the politicians, are the pastors, the reverends. They're the most influential people in the Black community. And I suspect that the same is true in Tobago and Trinidad. Pastors and reverends and bishops are very, very influential. And so if we can go through the churches as a means of disseminating education and mental health, I think that would be a powerful way to get the word out and to change behavior and to change our mindsets, mentality.
Yes, I already confirmed next weekend we're going to be having Dr. Pastor Wendy Lewis. And
yes.
Be here. Yes, she will be here. I invited another pastor from Tobago, Charlottesville. I wouldn't call her name in case she's not come. She is also invited. So now we will hear from Avenel concerning the question that you yourself asked.
Good afternoon again. So for me, on the more clinical background as a studying psychologist and a counselor, a clinical mental health counselor, I first want to go in and delve on giving a definition of mental health so that people can get that understanding of what it really is. So mental health is a state of an emotional, physical, social, and spiritual well-being. There are many factors that can influence mental health, and these things include stresses, changes in situation outside of our control. Those things can affect our mental health. something as simple as age factors in on mental health. A situation can factor in on mental health. And, you know, we have to get outside of that stigma where we think that every time someone or something goes wrong, or you feel like you can't cope, or you feel like you can't stress, that speaking about it is a problem. Because if you don't seek the problem and fix the problem, it only gets worse. And bipolar disease is one such factor that it is it's known as a manic depressive illness, which can often go undiagnosed or misdiagnosed, because you have to know the difference between these different diagnoses to know what disease goes to what. Because you could be depressive and be bipolar at the same time. You could be bipolar. You could have bipolar disease and be a paranoid schizophrenic. You have to know what symptoms go to what. And it is key in getting early detection as far as when you see certain symptoms. They can come about every 7 days and last for a period of 14 days, where you have someone having symptoms of irritableness, mood swings, and you don't know the difference. So it is key that we speak about it. If we're feeling down, or we're feeling that we're experiencing maybe a lack of appetite or a lack of interest in doing anything, or daily activities of life, we need to talk to someone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So can men be bipolar?
Bipolar disease is not limited to men or women. It could be children. And it typically starts in the age of the teenage stage. So from teenage into adulthood. But it has rare cases where children has now even, especially now within COVID, has now even been found to be diagnosed with bipolar disorders.
Wow. Wow. My God. My God. So you are saying to parents right now, or adults, guardians, or even husband and wives, you are saying to them that running for spiritual advice is not wrong either. But we can't run to this word, somebody do me, but you can seek. So next week we will hear from a pastor or two pastors, yes. But right now you are saying that you can choose to speak with your pastor, go to church, find someone that you could talk to, but you should really seek what? Medical
attention.
Stress on that.
Yes. So we have to remember that because it goes so undiagnosed, we have to remember sometimes it takes some simple tests that not a teacher won't be able to recognize, or your church pastor may not necessarily be able to recognize. What they can, however, recognize is those little symptoms that may include the mood swings, or you doing or engaging in risky behaviors, because a lot of the times it starts with the risky behaviors where they might have complete reckless sexual behaviors. It could be where they feel like they're extremely gifted, and it's not to say that they aren't, but they just have that feeling that they're just like, there's that complete manic behavioral change where they feel like they're superwoman. They have that, I call it the superwoman or superman mentality. They feel like they're completely on top of the mountains. And then it switches. See, the thing is, it switches so fast. 1 minute they can be absolutely great, and then the next minute they can go to being completely sad, completely depressive, in a mood, in a very moody. They're completely sleepy. They're having suicidal ideations. It's up and down. It's severely up and down. You just don't know what you're getting and when you're getting.
Thank you very much.
So that reminds me of a joke where they said in a psychiatry class, the teacher, on the first day of class, the teacher said, what would you call someone who's very happy? And in a few minutes, they get very sad. And somebody said a basketball coach. But that could be that the person is bipolar. So thank you very much for sharing with us the symptoms. And people have to be educated.
Yes.
The people have to be educated to look out for these symptoms. Or as Mama Coco said, our parents, the mother, the father should be educated. The mother should be educated. So if she notices her husband is behaving funny with these mood swings, that something is wrong. It doesn't mean that somebody put something on him. The man is sick, right? The man is going through some mental health issue.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. And see, that's why it's another thing where it's just so hard to pinpoint, because even with our school children, when we see like a switch in behavior, we just associate it to, bad parenting, or maybe you're just a bad children. There's no bad child. There's no such thing as a bad child. Behaviors come from problems, and it could be problems where they're being either abused. It could be a lack of concentration, like they really just cannot focus. Something as simple as ADHD, that's hyper. It's a huge problem here in the United States, and I'm assuming a huge problem in our country. There's the autism spectrum. Like there's so many things that can affect a child, and we quick to just raise our hand and beat them. That doesn't solve the problem, because at the same token, we don't know what they're dealing with. We have to seek help. Sometimes it takes that extra, like there's so many tests out there that can be done outside of a brain scan or outside of a psychological evaluation. There's blood works that can be done to search for certain things. And let me tell you something. It's a genetic disposition with these disorders. It runs in the family. So if you find one family member may suffer from these symptoms, 9 times out of 10, the child, the sibling, the parent, it's familial. It's a familial trait.
So can you explain the term rapid cycling bipolar?
So rapid cycling bipolar. So it just comes. It's a fast onset. It comes without any form of knowledge. Basically, it's just it's an out of the blue thing. You don't know when to expect it. You don't know how to expect it. And sometimes if you're not actively working towards treatment, it only gets worse.
Oh, well, we have learned so much from Avenel. We have learned so much from the doctor. We are about to hear from Joanne. So, Joanne, can you tell us your...
Okay. To agree with Avanell and Earl, you do need education across the board. So you need to involve many stakeholders with regards to addressing the issue of mental health, as mental health is a public health issue, and as he has given a definition of that. So when we look at the sustainable development goals that each country has to follow, which is what was set up by the United Nations or the World Health Organization, and they're gearing that towards 2030. So one of the number 3 among the sustainable development goals is for good health and well-being. And so every country, every nation has a responsibility, because they've signed up to this agreement with regards to the sustainable development goals, so that their citizens will have good health and well-being. But it also looking at the number 17 of the sustainable development goals. They look at partnerships for the goals and looking at, as I said, multiple stakeholder partnerships. And so that would be involving doctors. There would be in the health sector. It would also involve the teachers. It would also involve lay people, the parents and that sort of thing. And I think we have to start early, as Earl has said, from, I don't know how much we can tell the children in nursery, but we may be able to sort of bring it down to their level. Because, if you think about growing up in Tobago and somebody would behave a certain way and people would bully you for that, they would run along and call you names. And that starts from really early, especially if you're not coming from a family that might be so well to do, as we say. So from early, they have to teach how, concentrate on teaching people how we treat one another, to be empathetic to one another. So from nursery, primary, secondary, and if you get it early, then we may win the fight against this problem. And then it comes back to respect and love at the end of the day, reaching out to one another for those who can't help themselves. And for those who are in a better position to do so, it is our responsibility to reach out and try to help them to stay the course, really. I can't say much more because I think Earl and Avenel has basically hit the nail on the head with what should be done about the stigmatization.
So okay. When we have our other clinical person here, they are going to tell us clearly some of the things that we should look out for. I know Earl and Avenel can tell us right now, like a child, you growing up and you never used to wet your bed when you were young, and all of a sudden you start to wet your bed. Is that a sign? If you used to be a big eater, you love to eat, and suddenly you just stop from eating completely? Or how can we speak to someone before next week concerning a child that's coming to complain about something that's happening to them, or like they've been sexually abused? Because that can show up in some of the clinical terms that Avenel you spoke about.
Sorry, that question was for me?
Yes.
Okay. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, you, Avenel, you go ahead.
Okay. So as far as with children, like I said, any behavioral changes is a precursor to something else going on. I don't think behavior changes just automatically. Something has to be going on. As far as in children, we may notice issues with sleep. They might have issues with sleep patterns when they're in a manic state. They might be completely like highly elated, completely just like, I guess we could call them a little gypsy child, just completely just energetic in the moment. They have a loss of appetite. They don't want to eat.
Dr. Dr. is coming in.
Hey guys, I love the conversation. I wanted to clarify a few things. So we do try our best to reserve diagnosis of mental health disorders in children unless it's extremely very clear and there are harm to themselves, danger to their community. Now there's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2, two types of bipolar. And so when we look to diagnose, it actually has to have a very clear pattern, because as Avenel was describing, a lot of those symptoms that we might wonder actually are parts of being a child as well. And so when we define clinical signs and symptoms, there's a key piece of language that must be included, which is it actually causing harm to the person, the patient, or to their surroundings, their community, right? So it's not that they're full of energy, because I don't want people in the audience hearing it today and going and thinking that neighbor's child that's full of energy has bipolar. In fact, we really try very hard not to diagnose bipolar before age 16. That said, there are some children under 16 who end up with the diagnosis, but it has to be a very clear situation going on. The same goes for schizophrenia. And I think, Coco, some of your questions are actually related to schizophrenia when you're asking about not eating or grooming themselves, or what we call negative symptoms. Because when you start talking about schizophrenia, there are certain cluster of symptoms that we call negative symptoms. And the negative symptoms actually are a very telltale sign. I do think the first step to talking about things like bipolar and schizophrenia in a community, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, is first having people admit that the mental health issue exists within their family, their household, their village. As Joanne said, for most of us, we grew up just making fun of the I'm using air quotes, the odd bird, you know, we didn't really realize that there was a mental health issue going on. Family members, instead of saying my family member has an illness, they too were so embarrassed. They too were so caught up in social appearance that instead of saying this thing has happened in our family and other members have had this issue, they hide it away, right? Or they send them away. They'd rather that family member live as a vagrant in another island than be seen as having a mental health issue in the community, which could potentially, in their eyes, mess up the status that they have.
Stigmatized.
Yeah, that's the stigma part. But the truth is, yes, mental health tends to run in families the same as alcohol abuse runs in family, alcohol dependence. As a community, we've never really addressed alcohol dependence. In fact, we really don't talk about alcohol dependence. You know, I think a lot of people grew up being victims of alcoholism, grew up seeing alcoholism within their household, but no one ever addressed it. Yes.
Like you have a daughter going to high school, Bishops, Signal Hill, and your daughter is pregnant, and the easiest thing for you to do, instead of trying to help your daughter, you send them away to England. You send them away to Canada. You send them by the auntie in the United States. You send away a problem, not only the baby that she's made is not a problem. You don't know what that young woman is suffering from or what she will develop after she gives birth to the baby.
And so there's that too, right? So in some ways, one, a person who has mental illness might actually be reaching out to help. And unfortunately, some of the people who they may reach out to will take advantage of them. Instead of providing them the safe harbor that they're seeking, they sexually abuse them, right? Because in fact, for a lot of people, the only way they offer help is through sex. They believe sex is a solution to so many things that they're going to offer that as a solution to a young person who's actually struggling with an issue. We know in terms of, let's talk about mania, because the truth is for a lot of people, the mania of bipolar, which is bipolar disorder, which is different from, say, depression. And depression, to diagnose depression, you have to look at it over a 2-week window. They have more dark days, more blue days than up days. That's sort of a simple way to define depression. Bipolar, they may have a depressive episode maybe once in their life, but the rest of the time they're more manic. Yes, Coco?
Oh, you used the word that I was just going to ask.
Yeah. I'm going to describe mania, because mania is actually a confusing one in that most people, the period of mania, when you just feel high, is when you're most productive, right? So for a bipolar person, that's actually the part that they miss the most, and is actually the part that is more likely for them to come off their meds off. Because, you know, if you even look at people who are artists, people who are very creative, the creativity actually comes during the manic state. So again, when we're diagnosing mania, we're really looking at it as how is it impacting your life? Because when you're manic, you don't even need sleep, right? You can just go. You can be amazingly productive. And also people who are manic, many times, that's when they're also the most loving. They're the most impulsive. They want to do things. They want to get things. They're going to go buy stuff. They're going to take friends and family out for a good time. They're going to throw a party out of the blue. And so even their family members tend to overlook it because that's when they're the nicest, they believe. Yes.
Dr. Duke, there's a word there, functional.
Yes. So in terms of function, you're looking at whether or not it's impacting their daily life, but also those around them. Because, you know, I think when you talk to children, for example, children who are raised with a bipolar parent, particularly a parent who had a lot of manic episodes, that's where they're torn, because they as the children also remember the manic episodes being amongst the best times with the parent, right? But when they start looking at what was the cost of the mania is when you realize. So, you know, for example, here in the US, right, one of the ways we see mania playing out many times is that person will just shop and buy everything they could buy online, right? Because it's impulse control is gone. that person's going to just get on a plane, buy the most expensive ticket, and land somewhere, land to show up and visit a friend, etc. But you have to start watching, where does the impulse control go from there? And also, how rapid are they cycling? So rapid cycling is literally, it's not that it comes out of the blue only, but it's more the quickness with which they can go from depression to mania to back. So they can be crying this morning, I don't want to live. By this afternoon, they're manic. And the rapid cycling, what's scary is usually when you're very depressed, even if you're thinking about suicide, you don't really have the energy to commit it when you're depressed. But see, when that mania hits in, when you're very motivated, that's unfortunately when they end up following through, which is also one of the things we always say, right? If you have someone you're talking to and who you've been counseling about suicide and self-harm, and they call you super excited and, you know, they're talking very positive, you actually need to be mindful of that and immediately think, I need to intervene, you know, because if they're calling and telling you life's going to be good, you know, take care of yourself, you know, all but positive language, you have to really listen to the words, because oftentimes it's because they're happy because a number of new decisions have come, which sometimes is also the one which is, I'm going to follow through on my plan that I was espousing when I was depressed.
I have a question, Dr. Duke.
Go ahead.
Avanell Hazel, who I suspect is related to Avenel,
yeah,
she said that in Tobago there has been an increase in drug abuse in Tobago, and she tends to imply or think that there might be a connection between that increase in drug abuse and mental health, mental health issues. What is your opinion on that?
It's a two-way street. So the truth is, many people turn to drugs to sort of treat the mental health issue that's going on, right? And so, in fact, here in the United States, there are what we call MICA units, which are mental illness chemical abuse units, right? So you have a psychiatric facility, but they'll have a special ward for those who have mental illness and chemical abuse or chemical dependence, because there are two things you have to tease apart, because now not only do you have a mental illness, but you have addiction, right? And addiction is a very interesting mental thing as well, in that it's physiological, it's biologic. There's a part of your brain known as the locus ceruleus that really drives addiction.
What part of the head that brain is?
So if you think of your brain and you think about just above your ears right now in your head, right? Just above your ears is what's known as your temporal lobes. And your temporal lobes have an area called the hippocampus, which is our memory center. And part of the hippocampus has another thing attached to it called the amygdala. And your amygdala is not only does it remember things with your hippocampus, but it remembers pleasure with a hippocampus. And so within that area has a little nucleus known as the locus ceruleus. And what's interesting about that area is it's where pleasure, memory, positive things are attached. And oftentimes for a lot of people who are addicted to something, they're chasing the very first memory, the very first pleasure of the memory. I think the cleanest one to describe is the addiction to opiates, right? Which is, the truth is, someone who's addicted to an opiate, the best high they had was the very first high. And so they spend the rest of their time chasing the first high. They spend the rest of the time increasing dosing because they keep trying to find that first high. So they keep using more and more frequently, etc., to find the first high, except the first high doesn't come back. And instead, of course, opiates can depress your breathing. They can have all sorts of impacts. So you end up overdosing and you can die. Other people, of course, use opiates because they also want to be numb from a traumatic memory, numb from a traumatic event, being raped, being abused, right? So people tend to medicate their pain. And so as a community, what the community needs to do, first and foremost, is to stop sweeping trauma under the rug. Right? You know, many people sweep trauma under the rug. I remember growing up, I remember one young lady in particular, seeing her, and I would hear people say, oh God, look at how she come. Oh, I remember how that boy treat you, boy. He used to beat you bad, you know. Oh God. And people said that. Nobody went on to connect that part of what you're seeing now. This young woman who was hooked on cocaine being passed around in a particular house that was in our village on the top of the hill, being passed around for cocaine, right? Exchanging sex for cocaine. But nobody actually, because the community wasn't taught, right? This isn't a blame of the community. I have to be honest, the community didn't know. What I know now, I certainly would have called involuntary psychiatric pick up for her and sent her in. But the first thing is people home again, right? The stigma is we call for help for her. Huh?
If you did that at the time when we were seeing it and crying and mourning and worrying over her that she come into the village and her own was having her own uncles and so used to.
Yeah, it was really sad to watch, right? And so Donette is correct, right? We watched a particular friend of the family, how he would have to go fight to get his mother away again from people because, of what was happening. But I think as a community, instead of saying, oh my gosh, we've got an epidemic in our village, because certainly if you have a village of 50 households and 5 households are struggling with drugs and mental health, that's 10% of your village struggling with mental health illness. That's a big deal, right? But we didn't see it that way, right? When we had the pandemic of cocaine and what was happening and practically every household being hit by crack and the impact of crack cocaine use, again, no one identified it as we have an epidemic here. It was more, oh, these guys are flawed, or them boy, the what listen, instead of saying,
and then police are advantage them police are lock them up and
but what did we do? Like, the truth is there wasn't anyone who came around saying, okay, you guys have community centers, let's sit down in the community center and talk about what mental health and chemical abuse looks like.
But they don't know. They didn't understand, and they know still.
Exactly. And so that's where public health campaigns come in. That's where community campaigns come in, because we saw churches try. We saw Coco try. Coco partnered with pastors, actually. I remember this distinctly.
My house.
Bring them to come pray with. But the truth is, you can't pray addiction away only, right? Prayer can give support. Prayer can give them some strategies. But addiction actually needs active treatment, not just medication. They need treatment and support.